Now, the Commonwealth Games begin today out in Birmingham in the UK. And in the opening ceremony later this evening, we'll be having flag bearers. Bongiwe Msomi, she's the captain of the netball Proteas, the national team, as well as Christian Sadi. He's a Paralympic swimmer. He will be alongside Bongiwe Msomi as the flag bearers for South Africa. But I'm joined now by Khotso Mokoena. He's the chairperson of the Athletes Commission at SASCOC. He's joining me from Birmingham at the Games there. Khotso, good morning. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to start with something a little bit different and go straight into the burning questions that I've been asking myself, I suppose the fans here, sport fans in South Africa. We had a very dismal World Championships recently. Why do we think we're going to have a better Commonwealth Games?
Yeah, good morning, and thank you for having me on the show. You shouldn't don't let these things burn you so early in the morning. You know. Hey, look, I mean, taking into consideration what has happened with the visa applications for athletes that went to Oregon, it's just unfortunate that they were not able to get the visas. But I still maintain the fact that big championships shouldn't be held in the United States because there's too many red tapes. I mean, our athletes only got visas or visa waivers, and they were only able to get to the championship in Oregon only something like 2 days ago. 2 days just before the championship. So that was really terrible for the guys to be able to perform. So we can't say there were poor handling from the national federations, but it's just unfortunate this what happened, But the athletes went out there and did the best that they could do. And now we're at the Commonwealth Games. The athletes are really hyped up for the games. I mean, we've got the opening ceremony tonight. The athletes are really looking forward to this.
Khotso, you're talking logistics for me. That was a logistical nightmare, the visa issue. And I understand that it was at the 11th hour that a lot of the athletes, not just in South Africa, but across the world, got their visas into the USA. That says to me it was the same sort of ball for everyone, for all the athletes. We're all playing with the same round ball. And it's not something that was unique to South Africa. And also, we haven't had good performances at these major events. The Olympics come to mind last year. So it's not really something that you can jot down to just logistical issues.
Yeah, of course, we can't just put it on logistical issues. But I mean, if you think about it, individual sports, it's really hard. I mean, jet lag plays a huge role. I mean, if you're competing in the United States, you need about 7 days to just be there, acclimatize, start practicing in that environment. I mean, 2 days does nothing to you. In fact, 2 days it's more harmful because then the third day, actually, the jet lag is worse. It's worse on you. So, and that's when the athletes had to start performing qualification rounds. We saw some of the guys fall out there. I mean, and if you think about it, a month ago the athletes were performing, so the athletes were ready. So we don't know why they had this type of red tapes to restrict our athletes from getting to the US a little bit earlier and getting the visas in time. We can only question that. It could have been a strategy. We don't know. I mean, we had Akani was ready to be on the podium, and also in Africa, we had the Kenya Omanyala was also ready to be on the podium. So we don't know whether it was a strategy or it was really a logistical nightmare. But the athletes went out there and did the best that they could, and they're here now at the Commonwealth Games, and they look good and they feel good and they're just ready to compete.
South Africa was lucky enough to have a Khotso Mokoena. They had you back at the Olympics in Beijing in 2008, and I don't know if we can say fortunately you were there with that silver medal, Khotso. But it was really a bad performance also at that time. And this time at the Athletics Championships, I beg your pardon, we had nothing. Like, surely that's unacceptable. Surely that's something that SASCOC has sat down with the different federations, your Athletics South Africa, and said, we cannot have such a performance in track and field in particular. going forward?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we will have introspection a little bit later, definitely after the Commonwealth Games, to see what has happened and how can SASCOC assist the national federation. I mean, that's our role as SASCOC, to assist the national federations to see what's the best thing that we can do to assist, work hand in hand to see what we can do best for the future. I mean, look, the championship, the World Championship have passed now. And we just have to look forward into the future and see what's the best thing that we can do to ensure that we get better performances going forward, especially right now we're sitting at the Commonwealth Games.
All right, let's talk positive things now. Let's be optimistic a little bit and hope that something happens at the Commonwealth Games. How is Team South Africa? How's the athletes' village? Is there something that tells you that this is games that we will be coming back and be celebrating?
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you look at the history of Team South Africa within the Commonwealth Games, we've always done well. We've always had plenty of medals to bring back home. And positively, the athletes, they don't get on the plane not wanting to come back to come back home without medals. I mean, they get on the plane to get here and to try and win. So the athletes, like I said, they're really hyped. And yesterday we had a very nice team building, and the spirit is really positive. And we do know that athletes are going to give the best that they can do to perform. We've always had great performance at the Commonwealth Games, and we know that great things will happen, and a few surprises too.
When you say South Africa has always had good performances at the Commonwealth Games, Gold Coast, I think we finished 6th. That was in 2018. But a lot has happened since then, Khotso, and there's been COVID, there's been stoppage of sporting activities. Some say that also had an impact on how our athletes, I mean, you can train alone, but match fitness, so to speak, really matters as well. But also, big match temperament has also been blamed, or the lack of big match temperament for our athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you are correct. A lot has taken place since the pandemic in 2020. Look, it's really hard. I mean, it's gonna take a few championships before the athletes can get into it. I mean, I've always said that if you're not training and if you're not competing, you sort of, it's like you're taking 2 steps back, So, but the athletes started competing. You saw we've had already a big championship, which was the Tokyo Olympic Games, and also the athletes were able to go in full mode this year for the very first time since the pandemic to compete overseas and to have their matches and play games overseas. And now this is more like a second stepping stone out of the COVID as a championship, the second big championship after COVID, and this is another chance for athletes to start getting back into things. I mean, a lot has happened, mentally, not just physically, but mentally. So this is why also us, the Athletes Commission, in the past 2 weeks, we've held webinars on mental health, on how we can help the athletes to just get their mental health back on track again so that they can start competing, because it's a really, really important factor.
There's a couple of disciplines that in being introduced at the Commonwealth Games, this edition of the Games, and one of them, T20 cricket, will also be making its debut there. South Africa, unfortunately, have lost a couple of big names. Marizan Cup won't be going. The likes of Tumisi Kukuni won't be going for different reasons. But how's SASCOC viewing this as an addition to Team South Africa, the few disciplines that are being added to the Commonwealth Games?
Yeah, look, it's a positive thing, and I'm sure also in the future, in the next Commonwealth Games, there's going to be a few additions of sporting codes that are going to be added. But yesterday, the cricket team arrived. They were so excited. I mean, they've been on tour already, and just coming in here with that fitness, I think they're also excited. I mean, it's something new for them. So we can't just say, look, great results will happen, but this is definitely a stepping stone into the future to get more results. But they are very excited and they're very happy to be here.
We had a lot of success in the water at the last major global event. That was the Olympics last year. A lot of people were then introduced to Tatiana Schoonmaker, but Tatiana has actually been there. The last Commonwealth Games, she also had some success there. Are we expecting her to continue from where she left off at the Olympic Games?
No, look, I mean, like I said, there's no athlete gets on the plane without wanting to do well. You know, obviously she comes here as a world record holder and as an Olympic champion. You know, there's pressure on her shoulders, but she's a real well experienced athlete right now, so she can absolutely handle that. I think she's looking forward to these games, and we also expect good results from her. Without pressure right now.
Speaking of pressure, I was actually about to ask if SASCOC has had, I mean, you said you had webinars and everything, and you're going to have some sort of meeting this evening with the team. Is there a mandate for the team? Is there a target to say, we need to get to this medals tally?
Look, I mean, I'm not going to be putting out the medal statistics plan right now, but obviously the mandate is to come here and do and try and do better than we did before pandemic. Obviously, a lot has taken place after that, so I mean, it's just to come back to the drawing board and say, okay, this is more like a good start again for us, you know, and also for our athletes, also to come back into the feeling of competing, you know, being outside, as we call it, we're outside now. So I think we just the strategy is to just do the best that we can do and collect as many medals as we can do.
Khotso Mokoena.
You know, I mean, that will also give us a perspective of what we expect going into the future, especially the Youth Olympic Games is coming in a year's time, as well as the 2024 Paris
Olympic Games.
Yeah.
All right, Khotso Mokoena, we finished 6th in Gold Coast in 2018. Hopefully we can go up that ladder in Birmingham this time around. He's the chairperson of the Athletes Commission at SASCOC. He's already in Birmingham ahead of that opening ceremony of the Commonwealth Games 2022. That's where we leave it at this hour. And